talking about good and bad uses of big data. A couple of months back, Martin Schulz, when he was the president of the European Parliament, said, we now need to fight against technological totalitarianism. And Barack Obama actually pointed out that this is also a time around the world when some of the fundamental ideals of liberal democracies are under attack, where notions of objectivity and of a free press and of facts and of evidence are trying to be undermined or in some cases ignored entirely. In such a climate, it's not enough just to give people a megaphone, he said, and that's why your power and your responsibility to dig and question and to counter distortions and untruths is more important than ever. There haven't been many people really digging into this. I've tried to do this. By the way, also Pope Francis is very much concerned about the state of democracy. And so the question is, what happened? Why are the most powerful people in the world not able to fix a problem that they voice? So it all started like this. There was this dream, if we just had enough data, then we could see what is wrong in the world and see where the system is broken and fix it. And so people thought, oh, we should collect all the data that we can get, and then eventually we could know everything that's going on in the world in real time, in any corner, and fix all those problems. So some people started to say, get all the information you can, I'll find an application later on. And so they collected your shopping data and your mobility data and your social data and the data that you store in the cloud, and they scan your emails to give you a better service and to read your reading habits and what you're interested in, and Google knows what you're thinking before you know it, Eric Schmidt claims. And of course, Apple is likely to know too, and they know what you're viewing, and they potentially would be able to see what you're seeing if you were wearing a Google Glass. Your living room, if you have kids who play computer games, would anywhere be monitored. And so why not also collect fingerprints and genetical data? And basically this is what has happened, at least in some countries of the world. And so more and more data has been accumulated, and Chris Anderson came and had this dream that if we just had enough data, then we would not even need science and theory any longer. The truth would just reveal itself. Quantity would turn into quality. And billions were invested into this technology, but it didn't work so well. Because the more data you have, the more spurious correlations you will find, the more patterns that are meaningless or even misleading, such as this one. Number of serial killers is a function of chocolate consumption. And that was really a causal relationship. It would be very dangerous to live in Switzerland. Take this one. Number of forest fires as a function of children who eat ice cream. Very strong correlation. But if you would put those ice cream eating children to jail, the number of forest fires wouldn't go down at all, right? Now, of course, you can make a business based on correlations, but people would have to pay it with an unfair society. There would be a lot of discrimination. It's actually not so easy, really, to determine the bad guys, the terrorists, the people who evade taxes and all these kind of things. Of course, you will always have overlapping data clouds. And so errors will happen. Errors of first kind and second kind. Some alarms will not go off. In other cases, you will have people suspicious of potential terrorism who are just normal people. All these kind of problems. problems, and not even big data will really fix this problem entirely. Now, of course, you would want to help people, would come up with medical aid. They would ask you to send your genetic probe and then make a diagnosis based on your genetic precondition and say, this is the likelihood that you would get this disease, or this is the likelihood that you would die with 65 years or 57 or whatever. And this product in the beginning has been taken off the market because some of the conclusions are sensitive to the data. So it turns out if you send your genetic material to another company, it will also come up with a letter and predictions and diagnosis, and it might be a different content in that letter, right? So that's not very helpful. It would scare people. In fact, it turns out that some people who are supposed to be terribly ill feel very well. So we need to be careful about the way we're using big data. It can certainly be useful in many areas, and I don't want to deny that at all, but just run an algorithm over big data and then take the output and believe it, that is a dangerous thing to do. So people were asking, can we do any better than that? And could artificial intelligence, for example, fix those problems? And in fact, artificial intelligence is accelerating at an exponential pace, so these systems are becoming more and more powerful over time. In about 20 years' time, people expect to have super intelligent systems. And the dream of some people in the Silicon Valley is, once this has happened, the singularity is there, it just takes a few years, and those super intelligent systems would be so intelligent that they would understand all our problems that we cannot fix because we're too stupid. And those systems would, moreover, not have all those weaknesses that people have, like being emotional, being subjective, and all these kind of things. So this system would fix our problems and tell us what to do, and we would just have to do it, right? But then it turns out these AI systems are also making mistakes. Accidents happen, they will happen, yeah, we have to face it. And it also turns out that these AI systems are not necessarily objective and unbiased, right? It turned out that within one day, this Thai bot from Microsoft could be turned into a Nazi, so AI systems that learn can also be manipulated, as people can. But anyway, I don't want to talk bad about AI. Of course, AI systems will be very useful for us. They will be intelligent machines that we will use as tools and eventually get smarter, so they will be like teammates, and as they get even smarter, they would be like our coaches and tell us how we can do better, and this and that. And the question is, would they be our bosses, right? And this is a kind of question that people are, of course, also doing research about. And it didn't stop there. This is what happened. People understood, hey, knowledge is power, so if we just have enough data, we could rule the world. So they were trying to build a digital crystal ball that could see what was going on in the world and even predict the future with predictive analytics. Now you would say, okay, that's not possible because people use so many stupid and chaotic things, they're uncontrollable. I will show you later on. Not so true anymore. We've become pretty controllable, and that's the scary part. Yeah, but there have been projects by the military to build these kind of crystal balls, and then the question is, if you just had enough data, and if you had enough supercomputer power, could we find the optimal solution for the world? and come up with a big plan for the world and rule it like a benevolent dictator or like a wise king in a data-driven way. And I'm afraid this is actually on the way. The Economist has stated that Facebook has imperial ambitions. IBM Watson was proposed for US president, and Google wants to reprogram the state. So all big IT companies are basically trying to reinvent society and to come up with technology to control it through feedback loops in a cybernetic way. So the idea is society is just a machine, and we need to know what are all those pieces and how they behave, and this is you and me and everyone else, of course, and how to manipulate these pieces. And then we could run the world like a grand chessboard, right? So we would just need to have a huge chess computer, and that chess computer would move the pieces, and that's us. If you think that's all very fantastic, a little bit too much science fiction, and unfortunately it turns out, these kind of things have been happening. This technology is there. The question is, how well does it work, and where will it lead us? And I'm explaining you here how it works. So this is using big data, deep learning, for example, which is applied to the data that has been collected about us. That means personal data. And there's a lot of data about you that you're not aware of. And that data is being used to personalize information. And as we're living in an attention economy, attention is the scarce good. So if you can guide somebody's attention, you can also guide the thinking, the emotions, the decision making, and the behavior. And that has become interesting for politics too, where it's called nudging, or in combination with big data, big nudging. If you look at pictures like these now, it appears that we've become pretty much remotely controllable. What has happened is that all those approaches that have been used to condition animals are now being applied to people. Many decades ago, Skinner put animals into Skinner boxes, and they were exposed to rewards and punishments, and in this way they were programmed to do a certain kind of things. Now, it's us who are living in boxes. Those boxes are called filter bubbles. So it's an information world which is personalized, has been built around us without us noticing this. But it makes us programmable. It's possible to rule us by manipulating our attention, decision making, and behavior. I mean, our thinking has been hacked. We're being programmed. And how does it work? Well, first of all, in the beginning, people told politics and those people who were dealing with this, that's a good thing. If people would have to choose between an apple and a choco muffin, of course they should choose an apple because it's more healthy, so we'll do good, they said, right? And so they said to make us eat healthy stuff and be environmental friendly and all these kind of things. And once the technology was there, it turned out that it was used to make us buy sugar lemonade and all sorts of unhealthy stuff. And so it's being used to make us buy and obey and conform, and basically this technology is being used to program us. The dangerous thing is it's mainly done in a subliminal way. Subconsciously, you think it's not happening to you. You still have a free will, Of course you do. But in fact, most of it is subconscious. You would not even notice that you have been manipulated. You would think it was my idea. in many cases at first sight you don't see it, but it's sometimes just put upside down, or kind of, the connection is not shown or whatever, but it's all the time we're influenced by these kind of signals, and it's there, you haven't noticed, but it has been influencing you, so it's, hypnotizing us, in fact. In this movie, in fact, it has been explained to us what's going on, right? We're being hypnotized, and we're being told, oh, it's not dangerous, it's good for you. But in the end, of course, that snake over here has its plans with Mowgli, and if the tiger wouldn't come, Mowgli would, of course, die. The question, what would happen to us, I mean, it's quite effective. It's used for predictive programming. So if you want to turn society into a Big Brother society, you would even talk about it, right? So you come up with a TV show, a Big Brother show, and it's funny, and people would say, oh, is that funny to be in a Big Brother society? And nobody would even think that's a dangerous thing. Yeah, I'm afraid, this is the basis of how societies are increasingly being run. It comes from neuromarketing. It has a lot to do with mind control techniques that have been studied by scientists and secret services and all this, and the goal, of course, is to make money. I would be more and more intrusive, so if they could, they would look into our brains to see how they can make certain areas of our brain flash and trigger certain kind of thoughts, and they are now so much advanced that they can actually personalize that. So neuromarketing means that humans respond consciously or subconsciously to external stimuli, and marketing experts all over the world are dealing with this psychology. How does a certain target group respond to what kind of stimuli? And it turns out this is now being used all over the world. So there are different kinds of psychological types. Your psychological profile has been determined. The psychological profile of hundreds of millions of people is known, and in this way it's also possible to manipulate you easily. They say with about 300 Facebook likes, you're known better than you know yourself. That means you can be manipulated better than your friends, and your family can do that. And what is being done with this is, of course, personalized pricing. How to earn more on you. You would still buy the same stuff, you would pay more because they know you want it. Right? So using personalized pricing is to give you a good deal, and you're supposed to think this, but in fact, it turns out if you have a more expensive computer or come back to the same web page, you have to pay more because they figure out that you're interested in that product, so you're willing to pay more. So if you think, well, it could have happened to me, you're so much smarter than everyone else, and I have to tell you, unfortunately, you can't. You probably have on your computer, in your browser, an extension called Web of Trust. It's supposed to help you to avoid dangerous web pages. Now, this Web of Trust has collected data about all the web pages that you have clicked, has sold this data. It's not so difficult to determine, who is the person behind that data. And whenever you read news on the internet, it sends information about what you read and how much time you spend on certain pages to about 10 different companies now. So everything you do on your computer, whenever you use your computer, data will be sent out if you're connected to the internet. So they know you pretty well, you know, telling you this is all about terrorism and you're the good guys, you don't need to worry. You know, that's the first thing that you've believed. So that was the most important thing to make you believe, because then you stop thinking about the entire thing. So you're being targeted, all of you, to manipulate you. And this is now being used also in a political context to manipulate elections. Some people even say democracy is an outdated technology. It has created wealth, health, and happiness for billions of people, but now we want to have something new. And I wonder what that new thing would be. No question, we can build data-driven societies. There are different possibilities here. We can build a Big Brother, a Brave New World society. The technology is already there, you know. It's just a question to turn it on and change the mode of operation. And that would be fascism 2.0. Or if the state thinks it knows better than you what's good for you and would tell you to do this, we would call that a benevolent dictatorship or big mother society. That would be communism 2.0. Or we could also have feudalism 2.0, surveillance capitalism, where big companies basically decide what happens. You can choose. No, you cannot really choose, but you know, what we would love to have is, of course, democracy 2.0. We have to do something for it. Because at the moment, democracies are pretty much under pressure. In Poland, in Hungary, in France, in Turkey, and many other countries. So we may lose everything we built over hundreds of years. Freedom, self-determination, human dignity, assumed innocence, fairness, justice, pluralism, democracy, participation, all this. I think it's time to say stop, to demand democracy 2.0, to build it. And I have a little bit of hope for you here. Because the good news is, even though we have better technology than ever and more data than ever before, this top-down control is increasingly failing, because systemic complexity increases even faster as we go on networking the world. So complexity may save us, may. Of course, we can use big data for the good of humanity. So what I believe we need is a different control paradigm. If top-down doesn't work, distributed control, self-organization, self-regulation would be the proper approach. And how to get there? Well, give people data and control over data. And in fact, we can build that system ourselves in a grassroots way. We can use our smartphone. It has about 14 sensors in it, Internet of Things sensors. Can connect those smartphones to build a global measurement system run by us. Now, Google and Facebook won't give us their data, so let's produce our own data. Of course, we'd like to have a system that we can trust. And so informational self-control is really important, that you can decide what data is being collected, whether you would use it just for yourself or would want to share this data. Will not just be taken from you, which is the current state of the world. It would be important that this system would be run by the citizens, so it should be a citizen web. And what could we do with it? We could actually solve some of the big unsolved problems of the world, such as the lack of sustainability, right? What could we do? We could measure noise and CO2 and all sorts of waste and things that we don't want to have, and we could measure good things like social cooperation and health and education and reuse of resources and so on. And so the principle that we'd like to implement is that we'd like to have an incentive system that increases positive externalities, reduces negative ones, ensures fair compensation. So we need to have a multi-dimensional incentive system, not a one-dimensional money system as we have today that creates a hierarchy. Instead, we need to have many parameters that allow us to adjust the system to manage complex systems. So it needs to be multi-dimensional. In principle, it can now be built. Yeah, we can make waste attractive for it to be reused, recycled. And in this way, basically, we could create market forces that would create a circular economy and a sharing economy. So with much less resources, we could create a high quality of life for many more people. So all of this is about empowering people, about creating new opportunities for all. And in particular, this is the right approach because the digital economy doesn't have to be competitive as the material economy is by its very nature. Digital resources are not that limited. We could actually copy a file as often as we like. It's just a matter of our legal regulations, right? So if we make sure there's interoperability, then it becomes possible to combine products and services that exist to build new products and services and unleash combinatorial innovation. And this is, I believe, the thing that would really boost our economy and would help us solve many of the problems. So why don't we do that together and grow this system as OpenStreetMap has been grown in a bottom-up way by a community of volunteers. So I think it's time to get ready to team up with your friends and colleagues and join this community and improve the world together. Thank you.